Tottenham Hotspur fans, it's the news that you were perhaps expecting because your club has now opened talks with Brentford for the services of Thomas Frank. Discussions between the clubs over compensation is now underway. It's believed to be in the region of £10 million. You may remember we were speaking to Jamie Weir, who's outside Tottenham's training ground at the moment. We will go back to him shortly, and he was telling us that Thomas Frank's very interested in taking the job and wants to speak to Spurs, and he was waiting for confirmation and waited for permission from Brentford. Although Brentford didn't wish to stand in his way if he wants to move to a bigger club, they don't plan to let him go cheap. As I said, it's widely being reported to be in the region of around £10 million, and that's what the clubs are discussing right now. Other managers that Spurs admire and that may be in their thinking, Marco Silva and Andoni Iraola, but it was thought that Thomas Frank was their number one choice, and now it would appear that discussions have now begun between both Spurs and Brentford for his services. Of course, what he's done with Brentford is remarkable in terms of what he's achieved there, and obviously it's also his ability to work and train with young players as well. That's exactly what Spurs wants. You see there, Ange Postecoglou, the embrace that they gave each other this season. Ange Postecoglou was sacked on Friday, and it looks like Daniel Levy has worked very quickly in order to get these discussions underway. Frank is already known to Spurs technical director as well, Johan Lange. They worked with each other in Denmark. They've known each other for many years. Now, the interesting thing that data forms a huge part of the work Lange does at Spurs in terms of recruitment, and the data on Frank is understood to be very strong. So, the idea is that he is their main man. We now know that. So let's go live now to Jamie Weir, as I promised, who's been waiting outside Spurs training ground all day. It's the news that I guess Spurs fans wanted to hear. Jamie.
Yeah, that's right, Vicky, that contact has now been made with Brentford by Tottenham Hotspur for the services of Thomas Frank. Discussions are now ongoing, and they will try to sort of thrash out some form of compensation package should Thomas Frank wish to join Tottenham, and it is our understanding that he does wish to at least have discussions with Spurs about their project and about the potential of the club. Then they'll have to come to an agreement over a sort of compensation fee. We understand that his release clause is in the region of £10 million. He still has 2 years left on his Brentford contract, but has been reporting to you all day, all weekend. In fact, Brentford will not stand in Thomas Frank's way should he want to make the move to Spurs. And look, in my opinion, and I'm sure in the opinion of many people watching and listening right now, they are one of the great success stories of the last few years. Brentford, we look at the last couple of seasons, how difficult it is to come up from the Championship and even to stay up. Well, to come up from the Championship and then establish yourself as a solid mid-table Premier League club, when you're the size of a club like Brentford, is nothing short of remarkable, and that is down to the work that Thomas Frank has done there. Every time I go to Brentford and speak to the players there, they enthuse about how great a manager is, how great a motivator is, his charisma, and that's very much in the same sort of mould as Ange Postecoglou. We were speaking earlier, and you've just spoken, Vicky, about the fact that he has such a great track record working with and developing young players. That is clearly now Tottenham's project here at Spurs, is to bring in young players with potential, the likes of Lucas Bergvall, Mikey Moore is an academy product, Archie Gray, Wilson Odobert. Players like that are one of the reasons why Thomas Frank is the very man top of their list. And now that contact has been made, Spurs will be hoping this can move as quickly as possible. Look, sometimes these things do take a bit of time, and there could be a bit of back and forth between the two parties, but clearly Spurs want to make this happen as quickly as they possibly can. They don't want to get in a situation they were in 4 summers ago where they take forever to appoint a manager and end up with their 4th choice manager. Thomas Frank is their number 1 choice, and I would expect now things to move pretty quickly now that initial contact has been made between the two clubs.